Mm.
Welcome to another reading of Mayor Mehera-Meher, and this is page 95 of volume 3.
It's very small text.
Okay. To Mani, the three Hefliger children were like characters out of a fairy tale. They
It's
were
very small text.
they were so quiet and good. Monica revealed why. The reason we seemed
Thank
so
you.
well behaved was that we were so shy and scared. Well brought up children were seen but not heard. Children stayed in the background and talked only when talked to. Our answers were short and polite. Once, when tea was brought to them, the three children were sitting outside their room, drinking tea. Mara noticed that they did not have any sugar or milk in it. She told Mani to give them some. Mani went and gave each a sugar cube. Dankeschön, they said. Mani left, but continued. No, sorry. Mani left, but noticed they did not put the sugar in their tea. They kept it and ate it like a sweet afterwards. We didn't want to dilute it in our tea, Monica explained. The children never talked much with Mara. I knew my father couldn't see Mara, and I was proud of the fact that I could, Monica said. We had heard the grown-ups say how serious Mara's condition had been. But when I saw two small bandages on Mara's forehead, I thought to myself, they can't be talking about her. It's nothing on her forehead. There's such a tiny bandage. I couldn't understand it. Mara, in fact, was taken to a plastic surgeon in Switzerland. We went to a skin specialist 3 or 4 times, Goher related. Half the skin on Mara's forehead was torn away. The old skin was left. The doctors removed the dead skin, which was peeling. We hadn't taken up the one that was sutured. He removed that and did the dressing. Then it was all right after that. The doctor did a good job. I told him, if we have to have plastic surgery done, we'll come back to Switzerland to have you do it. The doctor smiled. But when I suggested plastic surgery, Baba said no. And Mara also was not keen on having it done. The driver drove Baba and Mara to the doctor, Irene remembered. We called him the bear, as he was heavy. But he used to carry Baba so gently and tenderly. He was such a good-natured man. Baba liked him very much. Rano and the driver went with them to the doctor. Mara's wound still had to be attended to. It hadn't quite healed. She had more consultations here than Baba did. The doctor's name was Dr. Undina, a well-known practitioner recommended by Hetty. And there is a asterisk there. On his bill, Dr. Andina wrote for Mr. and Mrs. Irani. Mehera had a little bandage only, not a big one. She still had a lot of headaches. And on the sidebar it says, actually, Meru said, the pain Mehera had was from the wound on her forehead, which took time to heal because of the bone, not from headaches like one normally gets. So she still had a lot of headaches, but she was very sweet. I really admired her. For the first time, being examined by male doctors. Mehera was so evened out, so balanced. These things didn't affect her. During their 2-week stay in Switzerland, Baba and the women were taken sightseeing around the town and to different lakes. It was lovely in Switzerland, Delia recalled. One evening we went to see fireworks. Several times Irene took them on picnics. We took outings with Baba and the girls to Bella Island and to Maloja, Irene continued, a lovely resort area. On the day we went to Maloja, my mother came over from Lenzerheide, where she was teaching summer school. My mother was happy to meet Baba again. And the sidebar says, Irene Billow's mother had met Baba in Zurich in the early 1930s, years before Irene met him. Irene's father, who had also been a Baba lover, had passed away. We ordered lunch in a nice hotel in Maloja, only soft foods for Baba due to his injury. We took a photo in front of the hotel. Baba is not in the photo as he had already been taken inside to their private dining room. I wanted to go to these lakes where there are islands with beautiful chateaux and castles, Irene continued, but we needed visas to enter Italian territory. There were gardens and peacocks. I knew Baba would like to show the girls. Baba wanted them to see Stresa too. And the sidebar says, Stresa is the site of a historic conference held in 1935 between Italy, Great Britain, and France, which attempted unsuccessfully to prevent Hitler's rearming of Germany. So Baba wanted them to see Stresa too. It was a little further down, so we had to go to Italy again. I got dressed up and visited the Italian consulate. It was a Saturday and the office was closed. Baba had only told me the day before, but they let me come. I guess that means, but they let me come in. My hair was opened, as the Italians are fond of women. 6 visas for journeys back and forth were needed. I managed to convince the officials. On Sunday, 10 August, we made the trip to Maloja and some days later to Bella Island, part of the Borromean Islands in Lake Maggiore. At the lower end is Stresa. Mehera remembered the trip. We had no idea that the lakes in Switzerland were so big. The cool waters were beautiful. Irene had arranged for a masseur to come to Hetty's and massage Baba's leg on the day they went to Maloja. The masseur came at 3 p.m. before they had returned. Irene had told Gisela they would be back by 5. The man said he could not wait as he had another appointment, and he left. Baba arrived at 4:15 and asked, "Where is the masseur?" Gisela explained what had happened. Baba called Irene. She explained further, and Baba said, "Never mind." Since they now had Italian visas, Mera wanted to drive to Rome to see the Pietà. The sidebar says, the Pietà, Michelangelo's white marble statue of the Virgin Mary with the crucified Christ across her lap, is one of the most famous pieces of art in the world. It is housed in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, where Baba had seen it in 1933. So the Pietà, as it was not too far. But by the time they reached Locarno, because of the doctor's visits and medical bills, their funds were practically exhausted. Ivy, Elizabeth, and the Winterfelds had all contributed towards the expenses and probably would have given more if asked. But the idea was nixed, and they did not go. The sidebar says, Baba had also been thinking of stopping in Egypt on the way back to India. Egyptian visas for the group had been obtained in New York on 21 July, but this idea too was canceled. The women, however, were allowed to do a limited amount of shopping in Switzerland. They bought several kitchen gadgets for Naja. But when they returned to India, they found that the servants would not use them, preferring instead to do everything in the same manual way. Irene gave Mehera a small work-cum sewing box. The best thing in it was a pair of excellent German scissors, which Mehera used whenever she had something to sew. Irene's huge pet rabbit continued to be the center of attention at times, but shortly before Baba's departure, it was injured. Rona Hefliger, 12 years old, saw it trying to escape through an open door. The child picked it up and accidentally dropped it. The fall broke its spine and legs. Baba was very concerned and sent messages back and forth about its condition. Dawn and Nilu were even consulted. Then Baba told Irene to medicate it. Don't worry, Baba told Rona. You don't know the reason this has happened. When Irene traveled to Geneva with Baba, the rabbit was kept with Gisela. After Irene returned, she took it to a vet in Zurich, but the rabbit died 2 months later. Michal, Could you unmute, please, and continue reading?
Okay, that was wonderful reading. Thank you. Like your pace, like the way you read. Thank you. Baba sent Sarosh Meherji, Adi Senior Nilu Gustaji back to India on 14 August, 4 days ahead of his own departure. Sarosh and Meherji had wanted to leave early to do some shopping, Swiss watch and jewelry for their wives. Before the plane departed, they asked Irene to tell Baba that the trip to Geneva would take longer than expected, and Irene, going along with the ruse, instructed the driver to tell Baba that it would take so many hours to reach Geneva. Baba said, all right. So they left 2 hours early. On the way, a stone became caught in the axle. By the time they extracted it, there was barely enough time to catch the plane. No shopping was possible. When the driver returned, he remarked to Irene, your Baba is a clever master. They thought they could ruse him. Avatar. So on the side note, Baba had arranged for the Mandali also to be taken to see the Grand Palace and Gardens on Bella Island one day. They lunched in Stresa before returning. Baba and the women return journey too was not without incidents. They left Locarno on the 18th for Geneva, and stopping along the way for a picnic, a wonderful drive, Mera recalled.
Oh, sorry. I was scrolling just when you missed a line. Sorry.
Okay, so I'll read again. Baba and the women return journey too was not without incident. They left Locarno on the 18th for Geneva, driving via Domodossola and the Simplon Pass, past the Lake of Geneva, and stopping along the way for a picnic. A wonderful drive, Mera called. They were to fly to India the following morning, so rooms had been booked for one night at the 4-star Hotel Cornavin. When they arrived in Geneva, however, Air India informed them that there was a strike at the Bombay airport and all Air India planes were grounded. The tickets and route had to be changed, which meant a 3-day stay in Geneva. The hotel was expensive, and as mentioned, funds were running short. Baba instructed Don and Rano to procure 6 tickets on any flight to India. They went to the streets where most of the airline offices were located and went into the first one. It was possible to get 2 seats on one plane. And they were told, it was possible to get 2 seats on one plane, they were told, and 3 on another. But they would have to fly to Paris to catch a connection flight to Pakistan. Don and Rano retired to a nearby cafe to discuss the situation. And on the side note, Don was to fly back to India later. There's no point in going to the rest of the offices, Don opined, since the first one called the others. They're all in the same boat. The other passengers from the canceled flights are trying to get seats on their planes. We'll never be able to get 6 seats together. I'm going to try, Rano said. I can't face Baba without the tickets. If you don't want to come, fine. So Rano went off on her mission alone. One reason Rano was so determined was that ever since the accident, she felt that she could not do anything right. In London, for example, everything seemed to go wrong. Once, when doing night watch, Rano woke Baba an hour too early. Baba was quite annoyed. When they had arrived in London, Baba said that his bed was too soft. He preferred a firm mattress always. Rano and Donkin were sent to find a plank for the bed, and there were no firmer mattresses in the hotel. While out, they had lunch and tea. Rano saw some luscious grapes and some tempting mincemeat. She thought these would be soft enough for Baba to chew, and reflected that the other people had brought Baba things, so she bought them for him. When they returned to the hotel, she presented them to Baba. Instead of appreciation, Baba scolded. Who do you think you are, spending so much money on this? And I don't even want such things. Why did you do it? Baba went on and on until Rano was in tears. Kitty had been told to return in America, so Rano suggested Baba send her back to America also, as she had become a burden to him and was incapable of pleasing him. Baba dismissed the idea with a gesture that said, "What nonsense!" In Locarno, things continued to go wrong. Goher was with Mera most of the time, so Rana was told to stay near Baba. Their rooms were across from each other, within calling distance. She was also to do night watch. Baba wanted a boy to do part of the night watch, and Irene's German nephew was given the opportunity, but the nephew began turning Baba's clock forward, so his duty would be over soon. And on the side, Hedi's son, Toby Mertens, also did watch a few times. Baba called Rano an hour early, and she came to Baba's room in her dressing gown. What, still not ready? Baba asked. Look at the time. Every night, Rano checked her clock with Baba's clock. Twice it happened before she found out what the boy was doing. Although it was not her fault, Baba was still somehow displeased with her. Again, Rano repeated her request to be sent back to America, and again Baba dismissed it. So on the side note, Rano never kidded Dawn about getting the tickets. Rano never kidded Dawn about getting the tickets. You never crowd over Dawn. He was sensitive and had a dry humor. He was very nice. I enjoyed his company, but he had idiosyncrasies, like locking himself in his room once when I had a message for him from Baba. So the ticket agent, Rano went on the other airline, went to the other airline offices. But as Don predicted, every office said that they could only give her 2 seats on one flight to India and 3 on another. Only one office remained, Air France, at the end of the street. Then came the Lake of Geneva, in which I felt like jumping, Rano remembered Trolley. The ticket agent said to come back in an hour. He would see what he could do. Rana walked around the lake, looked at the ducks and geese, silently prayed, and went back. Did you get the tickets? She asked anxiously. Voila, said the man, as he found them on the counter in front of her. I could have reached over and hugged him. At the counter in an hour, Ranu said. If you do your best, Baba always takes care of things. Back to the hotel she went. Baba did not say a word. No good work, Rano, or any other endearment or pat on the back. He had sent her out for the tickets and expected her to bring them.
Oh, let
So
me
that
just
was the one before. Rano never kidded Dawn about getting the tickets. You never crowd over
Oh,
Dawn.
Mikal, that word is crowed. It's what a rooster does.
Oh, I thought
Over.
it was crowd. It's like pushing him, you know?
Yeah. No.
Okay. He was sensitive and had a dry humor. He was very, very nice. I enjoyed his company, but he had idiosyncrasies, like locking himself in his room once when I had a message for him from Baba. So, where are we now? Since they now had to travel to India via Pakistan, permission from the Indian government was required. The Indian embassy in Bern informed them that every passenger would have to come personally. Irene, however, was known to the embassy staff. Because Irene had lived in India for many years, she was often invited to embassy receptions, and she had even met Prime Minister Nehru there in the 1951. And the side note says Baba had sent Chanji to New Delhi in 1942 to meet Nehru and other political leaders. When Irene informed Nehru that she had spent 8 years in India with Baba, Nehru said that he was familiar with Meher Baba. After a persuasive call from her, the embassy agreed to endorse their passports without them coming personally. So Irene drove to Bern with Dawn on 20th August with everyone's passport. Baba was not happy over the Air India strike. He did not like being in Geneva and was miffed about being detained there for 3 days. For the most part, he and the women stayed at the hotel. All the time, we were shut up in our rooms, Mera recalled, staring out the window, trying to pass the time. So the side note says most of their meals were brought up to their rooms, so they didn't go to the dining hall. Irene took them on a drive around the city once and through the surrounding countryside, and a few last-minute items were bought. Goher requested hair dye for Mera and a few other toiletries. They also went window shopping. They walked past a baker's shop where they saw a roasted piglet in the window. My, said Mera, her mouth watering. If we could only have some of that. They had ice cream and cold drinks instead and returned to their rooms. One of the waiters at the hotel was especially drawn to Baba. One evening, when they were dining, he kept hovering over Baba. Soft chicken had been ordered for Baba. Shall I cut Monsignor chicken? Shall I cut Monsignor's chicken? The waiter inquired solicitously. A few moments later, he was back. Shall I fill the glass with water? He kept coming to the table under any pretext. Baba smiled at him, and he smiled back. It's all right, Baba gestured kindly. You can go now. The waiter kept saying yes, but did not move away. He stood by Baba and gazed at him. Finally, Rana told him in French that they were fine, he could leave. He went away, but came back soon afterwards, irresistibly attracted to the captivating beauty of the ancient one. And now we're seeing a very beautiful picture of Baba and Mera in the car, where Mera is peeking right next to Baba, and she has the forehead with the address with a plaster over it or something, and Baba is looking. How does he look?
Kind of weary.
Yeah, tired and not
Tired.
yeah, not pleased. But Mera is very sweet. So it's Switzerland, August 1952. Bandage on Mera's forehead. Irene below. And here's another picture of Baba. Go further because I think they will see the leg. Yeah, Baba, the bandaged leg. Bandaged leg. Kushru quarters, that's back in Meherabad, in Ahmednagar. Kushru quarters, September 1952, Pandey. Pandey is the photographer. So will you pass on the reading?
Uh, Continue reading if you have the stamina, Mikhail.
Yeah, I do. I like that.
Oh,
So,
good.
okay. So 117, Walking Like Before. That's a new chapter. Baba and the woman flew Air France to Paris on Thursday afternoon 21st August 1952. Charmaine, Dawn, and Irene saw them off at the airport. Their Air France flight to Pakistan was not until 10:30 that night, but Baba had insisted that they arrive in Paris early. Rano had suggested they sightsee, but Baba said they would go early and sit in the airport for 4 hours. So, on the side note, Delia had already returned to London. To get to their connecting flight, they had to walk to another terminal on the other side of Paris airport. Baba's leg was bandaged and he had crutches, but he was not walking yet. Rano had telephoned in advance so that there would be a wheelchair waiting. While everyone followed, a porter wheeled Baba through the airport. When they came to a restricted area through which Baba was to be wheeled, the French authorities would not allow anyone else from their party to accompany him. Baba said it was all right. Meet me on the other side, he gestured. Rano quickly ran around the rope-off section, and as she met him on the other side, the insolent porter muttered in French, "Here, take your old man." The airport authorities did give them a private room downstairs, and Baba left the wheelchair there and sat in a chair. Rano asked whether Baba wanted anything to eat. No, he gestured, and naturally, no one else ate. Every so often, Baba sent Rano for soda water. We just sat in that room the whole day, Rano remembered. The worst part for Rano, at least, was when Baba began sending her to inquire about the flight to make sure that it was on time. She reminded the ground staff about a wheelchair for Monsignor and was told, yes, yes, everything is arranged. Stay in the room and we will call you in plenty of time. She reported the conversation to Baba. 15 minutes later, he sent her back. Each time, Rano kept trying to find a different agent so as not to repeat the same thing again to the same person. Hours dragged by. Baba was tired of sitting up, and either here or in Geneva, Baba was allowed to board early so that he could stretch out. Again, Baba was taken ahead in a wheelchair, we trailing behind, Rano recalled. When we got to the gangway, there seemed to be an argument as to how they were going to get Monsignor's wheelchair out of the plane. Tell them I can't walk, Baba gestured. Rano translated this into French. Suddenly, a tall French stevedore with bulging biceps appeared. Take Monsignor up in a wheelchair? He asked incredulously. What nonsense! He swooped down and picked Baba up as if Baba were a child, as light as a baby. Baba put his arms around his neck. The stevedore carried Baba so gently up the gangway to the plane, like Baba was something precious, Rano said. Mehera was behind, muttering softly, Baba, Baba, Baba. Our hearts were in our mouths, she recalled. What if he drops Baba or trips? But Baba was happy with the man and patted him on the back. He doesn't know how lucky he is, Baba commented later. Touching his own forehead, Baba gestured. He is fortunate. It was just sunset then. Rano concluded wistfully. The silhouette of the man carrying Baba up to the plane was so beautiful. This was the one time in my life that I wish I had had a color movie camera. Once on board, Baba hopped to his seat. Goya was loaded down, carrying 3 travel bags with medicines and so on for Baba and Mehera during the flight. No, for Baba and Mehera. During the flight, the steward helped Baba again hop to the bathroom, and the stewardess assisted Mehera. And on the side note, each airline had given them a free travel bag and Goer had filled them all. When they landed at Marseille at 1 a.m., one of the stewards insisted that everyone would have to the plane while the plane was on the ground. Arnaud explained that Monsignor, Baba, and Mademoiselle Mehera had been in an accident recently, and it was impossible for them to the plane. Finally, another steward came and said it would be all right if Baba and Mera remained on board. Rano, Mani, Meru, and Goer got down. When it was time to leave, the papers were checked. Rano was told that they were supposed to have had their passports stamped in Paris, which they had not done. She explained that they had been sitting at the Paris airport all day, but no one had mentioned anything about it. Again, she had to fill out 6 forms. She was worried that the plane was about to depart. A friendly Frenchman who spoke English offered to help fill them out in time. He was surprised at all the Iranis from Ahmednagar, India. It was the same situation when they passed through the immigrations. Rano answered for the group. The official examined each one's passport and asked, "Who is this?" Mehwan Sharia Irani, Rano replied. "Married? No." "From where?" "Ahmednagar, India." Then Fumera, Mani, Meru, and Goyer. And each time all the answers were the same. Iranis, not married, from Ahmednagar. Mera laughed at the memory. The man must have really thought us an odd lot. In Paris, the Air France agent had explained to Rano that their flight did not go to Bombay. It stopped in Marseille, Beirut, and again in Karachi before going to Kolkata. From Karachi, they would not have 6 confirmed seats to India. This would not be a problem, Rano felt, as she knew that there were Baba lovers in Karachi who could help arrange the remaining leg of the journey to Bombay. Minu Karas of Karachi had been cabled about their arrival, and Rano was relieved to see him, his fiancée, and Adi Dubash waving to them at the airport. Rano could relax now. From here, Baba would be looked after. Her job was over. They had no Pakistani visas, so they had to remain overnight in a few rooms at the airport. Minu served as watchman outside Baba's door. Baba, Mera, Mani, and Gohar were able to fly to India on a small plane the next afternoon, while Rano and Meru obtained transit visas, spent another night in Karachi, and flew on an Air India flight the next day, since the strike had been settled by then. Baba landed outside Bombay and went straight to Mirazad by car, arriving at 1:30 a.m. on 24 August. The fateful trip to America thus came to an end. Neither Mera nor Mani would ever leave India again. And on the side note, I think it has something to do with this. Mera pointed out that Baba never actually set foot in Pakistan. Interesting. At that time, as he was taken to his room from the plane in a wheelchair. She felt this was significant in the light of the fact that Pakistan would later go to war with India. Interesting. Baba and the women had been away. I think now I will learn.
Thanks, Mikal. Deb,
It
are
was
you ready?
amazing. Amazing.
Oh, sure. I can
Hi
I
Deb.
can read. Hey, J Baba.
Hey Baba.
Okay. Let's see here.
From Baba and the Women, just
Yeah.
a couple sentences down from the top.
Baba and the women had been away for 4.5 months. And with everything that had happened, Mehera was particularly glad to be home. Mehera was relieved to be back in India, Goher confirmed. After returning to Meherazad, she was all right and not depressed, primarily because Baba was getting better. When they returned, Rano began living at Meherazad along with the others. It was a surprise decision, since Rano had lived at Meherabad always and had been only an occasional temporary Meherazad resident. I did not have the sense then, she said, that I would be staying with the other ladies at Meherazad. Though Baba was improving, it took more than 2 months for him to have full use of his leg. He was using the bedroom upstairs, and in the morning, while coming down the staircase, Baba sat on each step and scooted down. Baba had to actually sit on his bottom and slide down the steps, since he could not yet put much weight on his leg. Goher stood in front and another woman behind as he descended. In September 1952, Baba was given heat treatments, diathermy, first at a local hospital in Ahmednagar and later in Pune. He took the women with him to Pune, where they stayed for 2 weeks in a house on Carve Road. They had been back less than a month and were already packing again. The bungalow was near a dairy, and the sound of its early morning activities, beginning at 4 a.m., proved most disturbing. In Pune, Mehera was taken to a new dentist, a Hindu woman whom Mehera liked and continued to visit for a number of years whenever she needed dental work.
Do
When
you
they
have a
re-
side? Do you have a sidebar? We
uh,
do.
no, no, I don't.
Should I read it for you, or do you want to read it on your
I can read it.
monitor? Good, good.
On 4 September 1952, for the first time since the start of the new life 3 years before, Baba took the women to an early morning film at Sarosh Cinema. They resumed going regularly, seeing 5 more films in the next 8 weeks. Okay. When they returned to Meherazad, Baba was able to exercise more, but inside the house, since he did not like walking on the gravel. Mehera pushed the dining room chairs and stools under the table to clear a passage for him. The refrigerator was not there then. Baba walked slowly at first, back and forth between the dining room and Mehera's bedroom. Sometimes Mehera stood watching. He did this for about 10 minutes every day to strengthen his leg muscles. Then he came to the dining room table and sat for 5 minutes before having lunch. He pulled the chair out and sat unassisted. It probably means he sat down unassisted. By the end of October, Baba was walking on his own from the men Mandali side through the garden and back to the house. In 1952, Baba could walk well when we came back to India, Mehera said. The fracture eventually healed because the injury was not in the joint, but only in the shin. He could go back and forth between the garden to the Mandali, have his meals, and then go again to the men. Once as Mehera watched him striding through the garden, Baba asked, "How do I walk? Do I walk well?" "Yes, Baba," she answered. Do I walk like before or do I limp?" "Just like before," she replied. "You walk beautifully, just as you used to do before the accident." "Yes," Baba agreed. "I feel good now," said Mehera. Baba felt more confident and walked a bit faster to show that he could walk as before. So we were very happy that Baba's leg had gotten well and that he had recovered from the accident. Although Mehera was no longer depressed, those who knew her well noticed certain changes in her personality. Alu Kambata saw Mehera after she returned to India. Alu had been warned ahead of time not to mention the accident. Mehera was dazed when we saw her, Alu recollected, and asserted. Little things set her off, upset her.
Oh,
Previous,
you missed a line. Her character.
oh yeah, important. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And asserted, Alu. Let me start at the beginning of the sentence. Mara was dazed when we saw her, Alu recollected, and asserted. Her character changed after the first accident. She was very, very irritable. Little things set her off, upset her. Previously, Baba had kept her covered. He said now that he wanted her to live like a normal human being. Before the accident, Mara was very mild and gentle. She was just like a flower. She was the emblem of purity in thought, word, and deed. She was calm, gentle, and loving. After the accident, she couldn't tolerate certain things, especially with the other women Mandali, certain characteristics which she had previously had changed. Khorshid too noticed that after the accident, Mehera became irritated quickly. She noticed the permanent scar on Mehera's forehead that resulted from the accident. Although Mehera had taken to applying makeup over it, it was still visible. One person thought Mehera's scar looked like a goblet. Another said it resembled a heart. When Khorshid saw the scar, she suddenly remembered an incident that had happened in Meherabad 20 years before. Baba had pointed with his left hand to his forehead and told Khorshid, "For my work, I need to have some mark on Mehera's forehead. There needs to be a scar there." Khorshid was taken aback. "Baba, do you really want it to be like that?" "Yes, it should be there." Khorshid forgot about it and never mentioned it again, but when she saw Mehera on her return from America, she recalled Baba's words. Baba wanted it for his work, she thought, and now it has happened. She never told Mehera about it, as Mehera might have felt bad, wondering why Baba had not told her in advance. As it was, Mehera took some solace in her scar because, as she explained, "I'm glad that I and not Baba got this scar." Well, I think it looks like a sickle moon.
Hmm.
Goher and Mani warned Khorshid that Mehera could not smell as a result of her injuries, and not to let her know that she knew because it upset her. But when Khorshid met Mehera, Mehera herself told her about it. Khorshid pretended she was hearing about it for the first time. Mehera's personality changed after the accident, Arnavas also stated. The shock of it affected her. The painful recollection of what happened. She was so badly hurt. What Baba did with her mind. She used to take time to think. Sometimes she could recollect such minute details. At other times she forgets things. She remembers so many things, but at the same time she tries to recollect things and can't. Perhaps this is a result of the accident. Dile said after the accident, Baba gradually let all the women have more freedom. Mehera didn't really want to have more, I think, as far as I can make out. She had to have doctors and attendants. She went to the dentist. So already Baba was lifting the veil from her. Adi Sr. commented, "All the comfort and position Baba gave Mehera, it was not easy. It was very hard for her. It is one thing if we desire something and we get it, but something that is thrust on your head becomes a burden rather than a source of happiness. Seclusion, great seclusion, very strict discipline, that was her life. Later on, she got so used to it that she didn't ever want to see anybody, even when Baba wished it so. It had gone to the other extent. I felt this to be so. When Baba wanted her to be just a little free, she said, "No, I don't want to see anybody." Soon after his return from the West, Baba went to Meherabad, where he met Mansari. She was living an isolated life at Meherabad. The ashram had been disbanded, and Mansari had only Kaikabad's family as company. She seldom saw Baba. There were no regular messages from him, nor did she communicate with him. When Mansari did get the chance to see Baba, she complained about not seeing him more often. This time, since it was monsoon season, but there had been little rain, she mentioned to Baba that they needed more. With a serious expression, Baba said, "I gave you the key for rain. Why don't you use it?" Hmm. "Baba, instead of a key," Mansari joked, "are you sure it wasn't a rusty nail?" "Yes, I have given you the key for rain," he repeated. "Why don't you use it?" He handed her a chocolate silver dollar, brought from Switzerland, no doubt, and said, "I'm giving you this. Give me rain in return." "Is it a bribe?" she teased. Baba was serious. "I'm giving you this, and you have to give me rain." "Okay, rain worth $1 I will give you." Baba was pleased and proposed, "Let's go for a stroll. See how I am walking." It began to drizzle. Baba said, "How generous you are. You are giving me rain so soon." It stopped, and the clouds began dispersing. "It is not good," Baba said. "I gave you the dollar, but you didn't give me rain." Mansari said, "Baba, I told you that rain worth $1 I will give you. I gave you that much." Then Mansari told him that one of the buildings on the hill needed repair. Baba told her to be patient. "It will be repaired," he promised, and then added, "after 700 years." After their return to India, the women Mandali corresponded with those they had met on the trip, especially Delia, Irene, Phyllis, and Adele. Mehera, in fact, had been writing to Irene since Irene had left India 6 years earlier. Delia had become closer to Mani after the accident, as they had shared a motel room in Prague. Or Prague, I don't know how they pronounce it there. Consequently, unlike Phyllis and Adele, who always wrote directly to Mehera, Delia began writing letters to Mani. All letters received by the women were read to Baba. Side note, Mehera's order about not writing was never lifted, so her letters were dictated to Meru. Just before they had left Switzerland, Irene told Mehera to ask Baba whether she could marry an artist with whom she was friends. Although this was at the last minute, it was the only chance Irene had had to tell Mehera. When they returned to India, Mehera asked Baba, but he gave a negative response, which Mehera conveyed to Irene in a letter. The artist was a very fine person, and Irene wanted a home and children, Mehera said, but it was not in her destiny to marry. No, it's just you and me left now, huh, Gina?
Sure. Are you tired? I can take over.
Okay, yeah, I was so engrossed in reading I hadn't noticed that people left.
Despite his recent injury, Baba was planning an extensive tour of northern and southern India. From the beginning of November 1952, before the fiery free life commenced on 15 November, A series of meetings were held at Meherabad to chalk out the details. Baba left Meherazad early each morning and returned in the evening. In a recent circular, Baba had stated, "In the fiery free life, I will give mass darshan to people, bow down to the saints, the poor, and the masses. And the result of the fiery free life will make the world understand that Baba and everyone are one with God." During the meetings, he told his close followers, "An ant works all day, but to you that seems so insignificant. Similarly, all your work is insignificant compared to the work which I will do during these 15 days. I love Mehera the most, but even I will forget her during these 15 days. So all of you must forget everyone and everything. No woman will be permitted inside Meherabad premises during these 15 days, night or day, for any reason." On 1 November, Baba stated, "I have to set myself afire, and since I am everywhere, all will be in that fire of mine. There is no doubt about it. Now, the whole world will have to burn with me." While Baba was at Meherabad on 5 November, Sarosh informed him that a telegram had been received stating that Mehra's mother, Daulat Mai, had died in Nasik. That afternoon, Baba told those at Meherabad, "Today is a very important day, and a fine day, too. Sarosh told me that Daulat Mai expired today at 4 a.m. of heart failure. She had kept perfect silence for the last many years, and it is said that she had a peaceful end. My dear Daulat Mai will live in me forever, by God's grace. I say, by God's grace, because today I am in the state of a devotee." Baba himself broke the news to Mehra when he returned to Meherazad in the evening. It had rained some days before, Mehra recalled, and the air was damp and pleasant. I was in the garden. That morning, when I came out, I was walking in the garden, and I found a dove lying dead in the garden. If a cat had attacked it, she would have eaten it. What a shame, I thought. What a sweet little dove. I and the other women were called into the living room and told that my mother had died suddenly of a heart attack. I wasn't upset. The others went away, and I was alone with Baba for some time. Baba told me that he had gone to meet my mother before she died, that he had seen her a month before and given her darshan, knowing it was to be the last. Baba had once explained to Mehra that people do not understand how happy the soul is once it drops its body. People worry and weep when someone dies, he said. but they don't know how happy the soul is. If they knew, out of that happiness, they would distribute sweets. I'll read the sidebar before it goes away. On 7 November 1952, close lovers were sent this message. On the morning of the 5th of November, Dowlat Mai, Mehera's mother, passed away suddenly, without illness or pain, of a heart attack. She was the only one of Baba's women disciples to have observed continuous silence. This she did for over 20 years. Now, after years of devotion, she had come to the one beloved Baba. I'm just going to read that paragraph again, that lovely paragraph. Baba had once explained to Mehera that people do not understand how happy the soul is once once it drops its body. People worry and weep when somebody dies, he said, but they don't know how happy the soul is. If they knew, out of that happiness, they would distribute sweets. Mehera concluded, my mother had not been ill or bedridden. She was having breakfast, laughing, talking, and had a sudden heart attack. A heart attack is a quick, nice way to go, instead of being bedridden. I'm afraid of that. Meru stated that Baba had allowed Daulatbai to break her 22-year silence a few days before she passed away. On her own, she would not have done so. According to Parvez Irani, Adi Sr.'s first cousin, who lived in Nasik at the time, Daulat Mai came to him the day before she died and spoke to him. He described her voice as sounding like a flute. She said, I'm not well now, and I don't want to stay here anymore. Tomorrow, let's go to Nagar. The next morning, Daulat Mai felt extremely restless. The civil surgeon was summoned, but she died at 6 a.m. at the age of 76. Her body was disposed of in the Tower of Silence at Deolali. Sarosh Gulmai, Vilu, and Sarosha's sister-in-law, Suna, attended Daulat Mai's funeral from Ahmednagar. Mehera had not seen her mother in more than 10 years, nor is there any record that Meher Baba met Daulat Mai a month before she died. And in parentheses it says, and it is almost certain that he did not. Although Daulat Mai had been in Baba's contact since 1921 and was among the first of those to dedicate their life at his feet and stay in his women's ashram, neither she nor Mehera's sister, Franey, ever visited Meherazad. Someone with whom Baba did make contact, however, was Daulat Mai's brother, Colonel Irani, his old nemesis. In August 1953, Colonel Irani wrote to Elizabeth asking about the accident and Mehera's condition. Baba was in Dehradun at the time and sent Padri to Pune to reassure the colonel that Mehera was all right and back in India. The colonel was not pleased to see his nephew and did not appear concerned about Mehera's welfare. Alive or dead, he snarled. Whether she is in heaven or hell, I don't give a damn.
As a side note.
Yeah, I think one more paragraph of this would be good. Padre tried to be friendly, asking about the tigers the colonel had killed, where it was best to aim for, and so on. But the colonel was not buying it. He sent Padre packing with a few choice curses hurled at Meher Baba. And here's the side note. A tombstone for Daulat Mai was erected later on Mehrabad Hill, near Meher Baba's Samadhi. As if to honor Mehra's mother further, Daulat Mai's memorial is the same size as Baba's own parents, which is much larger than other gravestones that would later be built on the hill. The year of birth on Daulat Mai's tombstone, 1883, is incorrect. She was born circa 1876. What did Baba tell Mehera? He reported that Padre had visited their uncle and that the colonel had accepted Baba as a Mahapurush, saint. Mehera could not have been happier. And there's a photograph, the same photograph we saw a bit earlier, but more of it, with Mani on the other side of Mehera in the back seat. That's in Switzerland. Mani on the right, August 1952, Irene Billow. Perfect place to stop, page 108. And we'll continue
So
on.
show the photo again, because it's can you show the photo? I don't see money. Oh, there's money. I can see. It's a beautiful picture.
In the book, there's a picture of Daulat Mai.
Oh yeah.
We'll catch that next week, I hope. Let's see.
This is such a beautiful book. It's an amazing book.
It is.
Yeah, so Baba told a little white lie to Mehera about Colonel Irani, huh?
But that's so kind of him. So kind.
Oh yeah.
It probably did actually happen, but not just at that time. You know, Baba was looking at the big picture, and he did it because I think where is it? Rosalie likes to tell the story of Colonel Irani when he came back to Baba in his next lifetime as a young boy, and Mehera held the little boy's hand and took him in to see Baba, and the little boy was very nervous.
Oh, that's nice.
You remember it?
No, I never heard that story. That's beautiful.
Maybe we'll get to it later on in the book.
Oh, it is in the book? Oh, no, I never heard that story. Actually, I read this book. I think I read this book, these 2 volumes, but long ago when I purchased them, and they're not in my house here, they're in India. So it's like reading it again, totally, totally new, fresh, totally new.
Yeah, for me too. I've read it several times, and I have all these Post-its on them, and I keep finding treasures.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I'm reading Merwan's book again. Also, I read it a long time ago, so it's great because I don't remember the things, and I have all these folded pages that I made as a sign, to look at things, and then I'm meeting these folded pages,
Which book is it you're reading again?
Merwan Jusawala's Avatar of the Age.
Yeah, John is reading that one. It's a new book.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really. Yeah. Well, Eugene Eugenius. Eugenius, you're doing a good job. You're doing a great job.
Yeah,
Here,
thank you.
oh,
Thank you, Danielle.
you're both welcome. Try out my new nickname, Gen, if you
Again,
remember.
okay,
Yeah,
again,
Gen.
okay.
Yeah, that's short for um, uh, my mom's nickname for me when I was a little boy, and I hated it then, but now it's kind of neat. Gen.
How do
It's
you spell it?
just Gen. Yeah,
So
Gen?
that's what she called you again?
Oh,
Gen.
hard G.
Gen,
Genji?
yeah, hard G, yeah,
Genji?
Genush, yeah.
Genji.
Oh, and by the way, Mikal, it didn't make much difference, so I didn't mention this at the time you were reading. The time when Baba was referred to as Monsieur,
Yeah.
Monsieur. Yeah, you were saying Monsignor, which is, I think, a type of Catholic
Italian,
priest.
Italian. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And so
You
that
know
was,
what I realized also when you were reading that Baba was doing the walk right after when he came back to Merazat, and she moved the chairs under the table so he could move. So if you look at that page, it's really interesting, and you skip that, or Deb, you skip that. One thing that he was walking from the dining room to her window. So it's the same window through which he saw that tree.
Which she saw the Umar tree?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
right. So he was walking all the way from that window to the other window to his seat.
huh. Yeah,
And
I'm not remembering um, the tree. Yeah, or I'm not remembering the mention of the window. Let's just take a look at that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what page because I took a photo of it. One moment.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
oh,
wait a minute.
did I miss something in the reading?
I don't know, but that, it just popped into my attention. It popped into my attention. Oh, I can't go back. Can't I go back? Yeah. Where is that? Let's see.
D does your
Maybe.
does your picture have the page number? No.
Let's see. Not here. Wait. One moment. And the mother had been ill. No, I just was also taken by this.
Maybe it's after this too.
Wait. No, it's before. Wait. No. One moment.
Oh, I see it.
You see?
104.
Okay.
104?
Yeah, you're right. Baba walked slowly at first back and forth between the dining room and Mara's bedroom window.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That was the window that she looked out and saw the Umar
Yeah.
tree.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so it really touched my heart. That was another thing that touched my heart was what happened to me here?
Whoops.
Uh,
Let's see. I'm trying to stop the share or
Oh, the recording?
no, I managed to stop the recording. Oh,
Okay.
yeah,
um,
okay.
let's see.
So yeah, so we
Oh,
were
there it
recorded.
is.
I thought we weren't recorded.
Oh, you thought we weren't recording?
No,
Yeah.
I thought we finished after
Oh,
finished reading. We weren't recorded.
oh, yeah. No, we recorded it.
Okay. What also touched my heart very deeply was that he did not, Mira and Baba did not see Daulat for 10 years before she died, and they didn't see her when she died. Wow. This
Though,
lady went
though,
through so much.
didn't he tell? I thought it also said though that he saw her, that
No,
he,
it said that he gave her the order that she could stop talking, but then it after the next few paragraphs said that he never saw her and she never saw him, and Mara didn't see her for 10 years, so they didn't see her passing away. And she spent so much of her time away from them anyway, even of these 10 years, because she was with her other daughter. And they said that they never came to Merazat, never ever came to Merazat.
Yeah, plus there was a new life in there too, right?
What do you
During
mean?
that 10 years, the new
Oh,
life
yeah,
happened.
right. So it's so many years. This lady went through a life that is unbelievable. Just being silent for 20 years, and being with a daughter who was not easy, and having all her children, helping her grow up her children like Meru and the other ones. And she had quite a few children, not three, I think more. And wow, and all this in silence, this and just away from Baba and away from Mera. It's no so and but he blessed her with such a death, that she just was talking and laughing, and she just one kiss and she wasn't there anymore.
I wonder
Yeah.
how she got the order from Baba that she could.
Break her
Yeah,
silence, right?
it says that he gave her, but then later on it
Mhm.
says that she never saw him, so how did he give her? And she never came to Merazat, so how did she give her? But maybe he gave her in her heart, because it was 3 days before that she started talking.
So
So you
yeah,
think
or he sent him a telegram, maybe.
Yeah, or she heard him in her heart, like we do.
Yeah, true. Could have been either. Just doesn't state it,
Yeah,
because it says she had allowed Baba had allowed Dalit Mai to break her silence a few days before she passed
yeah,
away.
just a few
So
days, right?
yeah.
Mm.
Okay, cool. Um, are you staying for Bob Eames's concert?
No. It's 11 o'clock tonight
Yeah.
already. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and
So has anything hit? You're in Tel Aviv, right? Or
yeah.
or in Haifa?
I was just, I went out while Deb was reading because my son called from London, and I haven't talked to him 2 days in a row. So um, I asked him if he knows what is happening here, because I don't see anything. I don't have television, and I don't watch any news reels. And sometimes I read, but in the last 2 days I didn't read even anything. I didn't want to read and what was happening, so I didn't have
Good
time.
for you. Good for you.
Yeah, but I do read every so often just to know what's going on. And so I asked him because he's seeing television, so I asked him what's happening. And well, you probably see, do you see television?
Yeah.
You,
I read read some of the news and look a
Yeah,
little bit. Yeah.
so you know more
I do
than me.
too.
So you
Hmm.
know more than me. So he told me about some hits, and he said, because sometimes they don't show us what is happening. But he said, no, in Iran they don't show what is happening, but here in Israel, everywhere in the world, they know what is happening. They see it. They are allowed to put it on news. I, so from him, I got some news.
So you're actually not in Jerusalem? That's where we
No, I'm
thought
in
you
Tel
were.
Aviv. I'm in Tel Aviv.
Because
Yeah.
when John visited, he visited you in Jerusalem,
Yeah,
right?
I lived in Jerusalem until what? No, it's 16, so 10 years, 20 years ago. No, that can't be. I moved to Tel Aviv, I think. I don't remember when I moved to Tel Aviv. I'm here quite a few years. Baba sent me here. So 100, yeah, 2010 I was here already. 2010 I was here. Maybe I came 2 years before that. So that's since then I'm in Tel Aviv.
I think he saw you around the year 2000. I think it
Yeah,
might have been
so I
2000.
was still in the kindergarten. I had my kindergarten then. And then Baba said to me, move to Tel Aviv. So but at that time I wasn't thinking of moving from Jerusalem at all. But he did, and I'm very happy that I did, because I'm feeling here more much more right to be here, though Jerusalem was so much part of me, of my I was born there, and I grew up there, and I came back from when we were in the States, came back there, and I never thought of leaving that place. Never occurred to me. But then one day Baba said, go. And so I did. And
What do you know what Jerusalem means? Oh, I could look it up. Never mind. No.
Jerusalem means, Jerusalem is from the time of Melchizedek, the time of Abraham, and it means a city of peace,
Oh,
or,
beautiful.
or city of fullness, full.
Uh-huh.
Shalem is full. Shalem is full, and that was the name at that time. And Melchizedek is connected somehow also, not only to Abraham, but to Jesus somehow, I don't know. He was probably a perfect master or something like that at that time. And Baba says that Abram was the avatar, and you know that Baba was, as the avatar, was trained by a perfect master, Wasi Maharaj. So this connection that they had between them was probably very special. It was very special. This guy was very special, and his name, Melchizedek, is the king of justice. Melchizedek, king of justice, and he lived in Jerusalem, and he was the first one who lived there in the time of Abram.
Full of peace is the meaning of Jerusalem, huh?
Okay.
Full of peace.
Yeah, it is not, of course. Yeah, but it is holy. It is holy because, I grew up in Jerusalem. I didn't know it was holy because I was just part of it. When you live in a city, you are like that environment. But when I left, and I didn't want ever to go back because Jerusalem is not an easy city. I'm very glad I was born there because it gave me a lot of good things that it has as a city, but it is a tough city because it had so many wars over it and so many bloodsheds and so many wrongs, and temple going twice down, and Jesus being crucified, and all the diaspora was going because of Jerusalem and because of the things in the temple that God did not like. So it's not an easy place. But after a few years here, one day I had to go to a bar mitzvah of one of the kids in my kindergarten. So when I went and I passed by the old city, I felt its sacredness, and then I understood why people fight over her, because there is sacredness. It still is there. There's like Meherabad is sacred, and it will forever be sacred because what Baba planted in it. And that place is also sacred, but that's why they fight over it all the time. That's why the Christians fought over it, the Jews fought over it, the Romans fought over it, the Greek fought over it, the Muslims fought over it. They all fight over it.
Yeah, and old places just have a venerable feeling about them,
What feeling?
Old places.
Have a variable? What is a variable?
Venerable.
Oh, venerable.
Yeah.
No. It's holy. It's not venerable. It's holy.
Oh, I
There is
think
something.
venerable, that's what venerable means.
Oh, okay.
It's to venerate means to,
Yeah, right.
to
Right.
not worship it, but to, just feel its worth, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Tel Aviv, it's very, and it's not because maybe of the ground or the city, or maybe it is a chakra like this, but so many very high souls were there and were giving that to that city, like Baba has given to Meherabad. And Baba has planted in Meherabad. That's why when we come there, we get this effect, because Baba planted in the ground all those work that he did. Anyway, but when I came to Tel Aviv is near the sea, and Tel Aviv is a city that is built on sand. There were no.
What does Tel Aviv mean?
Tel Aviv is the hill of spring. Tel is a hill, a small hill,
And
hillock.
it's a spring like water?
No, spring like spring
The
season.
season after winter.
Yeah, and what happened here was there was nothing here. There was only sand.
Wow.
So no one was conquering and no bloodshed and no one taking homes from anyone in Tel Aviv. I'm not talking about Jaffa, but Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is a city that was built on sand that was bought with money and with a contract from people that thought that it would not do them any good because it had only sand. You can't even grow anything on it. And that is where this city was built. So this city has the benefit of not having blood in its ground, not having usurping anyone's houses, and not and also the benefit of the sea, which all the time gives it this cleansing.
Cool. I got to take a little break, kids. So
Yeah,
before the
okay.
next program. Bye for now. Thanks for
Bye.
coming.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you for the
Baba.
message.
Love to you all. Bye.
How is John? Is he feeling okay now?
What's that?
He's a little
No.
better. He's a little
Oh.
better, but it's been kind of rough days. Nothing like what you're going through, but it's
Everyone with their own, it's not, if my tooth hurts, and it hurts a lot,
Yeah.
it hurts 100 or 1,000, and so you can't compare. So he's not better. How come? He's already taken care of it.
No, he's getting better. He's on antibiotics. It's kind of complicated, but one of the things was a tick bite, and some of the ticks transmit diseases. So apparently it was one of those ticks.
Okay, so he's been weak because of the
What's that?
antibiotics.
Antibiotics, yeah, they do work.
Okay, so send love and healing wishes for him.
Yeah.
And thank you for your art. I really was so amazed with your art.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I got to watch your videos. I'm going to do that this evening, I hope. It's just
No,
life
when
is,
you have time, don't rush
I
into
know,
it.
life is getting back to normal a little bit. So,
Don't rush into anything. Let Baba show you what he wants you, where he wants you,
okay. Well, you
Yeah.
better get some sleep if you can. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Jai Baba.
Enjoy the music. Ian, I saw you when you first came to Marazad. When you first came to Marazad, and you played in Mandali Hall, and you gave them the singing from your chords. And I was there in the Mandali Hall when you did that, your first visit. What date was that?
20 years ago, 25 years ago.
What year was that?
25 years ago, he just said.
Yeah, but I can't, 25 years ago, that's
more, yeah.
2000.
Robert, could I ask you a question?
Yes.
About your performance today?
Yeah.
What do you think of playing and singing all your songs that you on your program all in a row without like it would be on a CD?
Yeah.
Because you know why, right? Because it's so nice to listen to a program of music.
Yes.
Without the and repeatedly listen to it without talking on it and stuff. But I'll leave it up to you, to whatever you feel like doing, I know most of your shows people like to talk to you and
right.
and
but
so on.
Yeah, I think we'll just do a music show.
That would be awesome.
Sounds good.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just say a few words at the top maybe and off we go.
Sure. Yeah. Should I begin the recording now or
what are we at? 1 o'clock? We can make 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah, wait a few more minutes because it's not quite time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
And we'll do an hour, roughly.